way.
But I just started that.
Yeah, maybe we should start with that instead of just rambling on about nothing.
See, the best thing is, it's like, now do I include that?
I know, right? It's like, oh, the choices.
You don't know.
This is what happens when we go away for a week. We come back, we're all over the place.
Oh. We're in a new location. It's
We
very
are.
strange. We're next to a conservatory.
It sounds echoey to me.
There's plants around. Like
That makes a difference to the podcasting.
It does. It really does. Like,
do you know what does make a difference though? Our wall of books is missing.
that's true. Actually, there's no books.
There's
around.
no books here.
This is kind of...
It's like we're just kind of on a bit of a free for all. Like no books to tether us.
I felt like a poor book lover the other day. Yesterday, in fact, because MCM want to do like a best of awards type thing, and
cool.
So best TV show, best new show, and I was like, yeah, I know everything for every category. The only two categories I didn't do anything for was like best album and best wrestler, because they do lots of stuff about wrestling for some reason.
Yeah, I was gonna say pass on that one.
Yeah.
I don't really know anything about it.
But then it said best book. I was like, of 2013. I don't know if I've read a book
Who's
that's
got
come
the
out.
money to read the books they're actually publishing at the moment? I can't buy
that's
anything firsthand.
Most books, you discover it later, don't you? Usually,
you hear people talking, or
like I think the only book that I could mention was possibly the last Divergent book, which we haven't read, but
I've got my pre-orders though. I got a new Tamara Pierce book this year. I got my new Robin McKinley this year because I already know I will love them.
Oh, what am I talking about? Because Ben Aronovich book would have come out this year.
Oh, well there you go then.
Yeah. Oh, I'll have to go back and go, no,
put this in.
Yeah.
I like that. But the thing is, immediately you read a book, you love it, and it feels like it's been around ages. It's like, that's not from this year.
So that's it. When you're put on the spot, sometimes you can't think. Like because there was TV shows, and the ones I added to it were
New TV shows that started this year.
No, just ongoing. There is new ones. So it's,
I'm compiling a list. That's what that looks like on my face.
There's a category for best TV show, and then for best new TV show.
Shield.
And the only one they had for new TV show was Shield. And
obviously.
And I added Sleepy Hollow.
Sleepy Hollow.
And I even
yeah,
put a note.
that.
I even put a note at the end going, really, out of everything, I want you to include this.
I am getting into that show now. I'm like 3-4 episodes in. It's getting very good. I kind of want to just hug Ichabod. He's so cute.
I've got 2 episodes on the laptop that I've got to watch that I've not got around to yet, and I should get a move on.
Yeah,
but it's like, for representation, it's the best. I can't think of any other show that has like a main black woman who's just such a rounded, interesting character.
She is though. That's the thing.
Yeah, she's not full on.
She's not
she's not
sassy at all.
Yeah, she's not the sassy black woman.
She's savvy. Yeah. That's the thing.
She's
and like
not
I really like that.
A cliche. She's not.
No, she's
the
just.
trope.
She is a character. Yeah. Which it should not be noteworthy.
Yeah.
That shouldn't be something that we're saying is great, because that should be how every show is.
Yeah. And it's got such a mix of like ethnicities in it, which is just like reflects what America is and should be, rather than every other show where it's like white guy, and
it doesn't take itself too seriously. And certain other shows in that genre I love because they don't take themselves too seriously and for other reasons. But that I really like that. I like a show that has a sense of humour about itself.
And then for the TV show, I went to Once Upon a Time and something else. Can't think what the other one was.
Supernatural?
They'd already put Supernatural.
Okay, that's cool. Once Upon a Time, definitely. I would say American Horror Story. I'm in love with that show this series. Series 2, not so much. Series 1, I loved. Series 3, I'm loving so far.
I've watched it. You were telling us about that one.
Yeah. Cool to watch. Do you know what we've done? We've done this again. I know this trend.
Yeah.
We don't talk about books.
It's okay.
It's like, hey, let's talk about comics or TV.
We got here naturally.
Yes, it's cool.
Comics is included though.
Oh, those count. Yeah, comic book. That's
yeah.
fine. Yeah, TV, not so much.
And see, the other thing I made a note about was Matt Fraction's Sex Criminals, which I think I mentioned before. But
yeah.
read that. It's really good. Yeah, topic of conversation. We've got a main topic in mind, but we'll come to that later. So right now, I wanted to talk about something that I've wanted to talk about for a while, because it is a stupid argument, and I hate it.
Okay.
And it's time to have a rant about
Go
it.
for it. Rant away.
It is this whole stupid Kindle versus paperback book argument. I'm looking at people on Pinterest who post those stupid little notes, like e-card things, going, books, I'd rather have 1,000 books than a Kindle. It's like, but you could fit 1,000 books on a Kindle. But it's...
I don't think that's the point they're trying to make.
I know, their point is, oh yeah, the book has a nice smell, it has, a physical presence and something really nice about a book. And the thing is, we aren't disagreeing with you.
It is not an either or discussion.
Everyone prefers a paperback. Kindles are just more convenient.
I can say from experience, I'm one of those people. I have packed for my holidays. I have been known to fit upwards of 10 books in my suitcases. If we were going on a beach holiday, okay, and I would read the entire time. Okay, my weight allocation was books. I would still run out and I'd end up reading whatever I could borrow off my sister or my mum. And so to take a Kindle instead, I can't tell you how great that is. And I'm the biggest book lover. Like, I still buy 99% of my books from pretty much charity shops or Amazon Marketplace or eBay if it comes to that. Usually charity shops, that is my go-to place. And I will top up on Kindle if necessary. But I'm about the paperback books, but then you've got storage issues. Where do you put all your books?
Exactly.
Especially if, like some of us, your bookcase collapses and you think, maybe it's time to thin out the collection a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I was in Toronto for 10 months. I could not have survived without the Kindle because I would have had to leave so many paper books behind, and that would have broken my heart. So just be like, no. Goodbye, books.
And the thing is, if you're being really clinical about the situation, the words are no different. The story you are getting is precisely the same story. Even the page breaks are usually in the same page, like same words where you get your page breaks. They're in the same places. It's just that you tap a screen instead of turning a page. Like, that really is the difference.
Yeah.
Is it worth the controversy?
Exactly. We all like paperbacks, but sometimes we can't have paperbacks. What I feel has happened is that Kindle is like my main, but paperbacks are like a treat.
Yes.
That's what it feels like. It feels like it's something a bit extra special, but about 60% of my reading, 60-70% is digital now, I think.
I like to have there are some books where I know I won't get rid of my paperback copies because I like to know that it's physically there.
Yeah.
Like it's I've got that physical book. But for a book I'm going to read once, which is quite a lot of my reading, what does it matter? Does it matter if I have
exactly.
a book?
Not every book's like a winner.
It's not
really,
a keeper, Like, really?
Yeah.
And then is that better? Then is a Kindle version better or worse than a book you got from the library?
Exactly. Yeah.
Because that's, people who are advocating the paperback book, well, okay, if you've got a paperback book you're going to read once, that's a library copy. That's not something you've bought. That's not something you've, really kind of even borrowed off a friend or whatever. That I believe that the closest match to that, to a book you'll read once and never again, is probably something you've got from a library. So why is that better than a Kindle? Exactly. Like, what is it about it?
It's just the attitude of superiority of, well, it's like the hipster thing. It's, well, I'm not going for this newfangled Kindle. I'm old school.
Yeah, I read a book.
I read proper books.
With herpes.
We all read proper books.
That's
Who gives a shit? You're not a special snowflake just because you don't like the Kindle.
A book. And let me also point out, okay, from an educational book standpoint, how many of us were stuck doing research for an essay thinking, why is there not a Control F function on this textbook? Why can I not just search for the word that I need? Well, that is how the Kindle works.
And just this week, actually, like for work, my boss just sent me a message going, buy this book, I'll unstick it on your expenses, I'll pay you back for it. And I went, okay. Got this book. It was only available in the US. It was available in the UK as a Kindle version, but not paperback yet.
Yeah.
So, there we go. I could have bought it and read it on like the PC app if I didn't have the Kindle, but that's stupid. So I can now read it like a book on my Kindle.
And we did the whole Google Books debate as well, which is somewhat similar because, again, that is a digital version of the book.
And if you're a writer, extra bonus, because you can stick your own book on there before it's ready. And it's so much easier to read through than on a computer screen.
Yeah, you think you're reading accurately on a computer screen and you're not.
Yeah.
If you put that onto a Kindle and you actually read it as though it's you will see every mistake on that page. Suddenly, they're so clear.
Exactly. It's so stupid. From that, I'm going to slide into a similar discussion.
Cool.
I thought it'd be nice to kind of talk about this, seeing as we're on the run up to Christmas. It's a question I'd spotted in a Google Plus community. Basically, like the whole e-reader, Kindle versus the tablet. And the preferences within. And it basically came down to two main points. Like, I would always go for the dedicated e-reader. If you're a big book reader, go for the dedicated e-reader, because they are so much nicer to read off. You can read in the sunlight, there's no problem. Unless you've got like a crappy one, I don't know if there's like rubbish. There's probably rubbish models out there, but the Kindle, Kobo, you'll be safe, I think.
I've not heard bad stuff about either, I have to say.
Exactly.
To be fair, I've not actually heard anything bad particularly about e-readers in terms of the actual readability of what is showing on them. I'm not overwhelmed by bad press on that front in general.
Exactly, they're kind of, if you've not read one from one before, they're designed to do that job. And like, the funny thing about the Kindle is that everyone kind of asks, if they've not had one before, they sort of ask the same questions. The first one is it heavy?
Nope.
No.
No, it is not.
Just think of how big, think of the biggest book you own, how heavy that is having a lap.
Yeah, go back to when you were trying to read one of those later Harry Potter books.
I've had books
and
that
you can't quite pick it up.
I've had them like jabbing in my thigh.
You get that mark, that like almost eye shape, like that.
And I go, no, it's light as anything. I can stick it in my handbag. It's brilliant. Okay, and the other bonus as well, if you're a bit older and you can't read or you've got poor eyesight, is you can make the font bigger.
Yeah.
Think of how much of an improvement
glasses.
that little tiny difference makes. You could probably do that on the tablet though as well, or you can zoom in. I'd imagine.
My big thing, and yes, I'm generalising, but tablets, generally speaking, are gonna have one of the shinier screens that picks up the grease off your fingers, because as you move it, I mean, think if you tilt your phone, I'm sure you've seen it on your phone, you get those marks where your fingers have been. Kindles, or in my experience, they don't have that. It's more of like a matte screen. So because you are tapping the screen to swap the page, it's actually designed, or mine is, my personal one, whether or not they did this specifically for me because they knew I was buying it, is designed so it doesn't pick up the grease in that way. So that, for me personally, would be a deciding factor, because I don't tend to stop reading to like check my email or to play a game. If I'm reading, that's getting my attention at that time. So for me, that would kind of decide the argument, because I'm like, actually, that would make a large impact on my reading experience.
But there are people who then also go, but I do need like a new computery object. I need something to go on the internet with and other things.
Because your computer and phone and tablet are not enough.
Yeah. So if that's the case, if you need a new computer and something to read books on, then go with a tablet. But if you can afford it, dedicated e-reader every time.
Yeah,
definitely.
That would be my vote, and I don't mean that out of like, I don't know, a hipsterish. Well, it's just for books, so that makes it better. It's literally, as I say,
it's a legitimate. It is better for your eyes. It is specifically designed to do this one task. And I kind of like gadgets that do that.
Yeah,
it's like, I can only do this one thing, but I'm gonna do it well.
Exactly. Yeah. It is going to read the shit out of those books to you. It's literally just like, yes.
It's going to be brilliant. Yeah. I think that was everything on that topic. I'm sure I had something else I wanted to say.
Oh, did you?
It's gone out of my head now.
We can come back to it.
Yeah, if I remember.
Next week you'll be like, that thing from last week.
The thing
I meant to say.
I'm going to slide into another kind of Christmassy thing, and I wanted to throw out like a present idea for any people who love to read that you might know, which you probably will. There's something called Story Bundle, and if the name sounds familiar and you're a gamer, that's probably because you've heard of the Humble Bundle.
Yeah.
And that was all about selling bunches of indie games. You pay whatever you wanted for them, from like $1 to infinite amount of money, whatever you wanted to pay.
However generous you were feeling
exactly.
that day.
And then money went to charity. You could choose how much went to charity, how much went to Humble Bundle, and how much went to the like developers. And it was like really cool. It's been so popular that they're now opening a shop. And some smart person realised how well this worked and said, hey, why don't we do it for indie books?
So they did.
Boom! Story Bundle. It's brilliant. It's quite dangerous because you're like, I want to pay the $10 to get the bonus books so that I have the entire trilogy there.
Yeah. You can't. I'm sorry. You can't have an incomplete set of something. Doesn't work that way.
But then you're paying $10 and you get about 7 or 8 books, and you go, well, this is a lot of books.
Well, overall, I'm practically making money on this.
So you have the same problem as I believe gamers do with Humble Bundle, in that you end up with this library of stuff that builds up that you've not touched, but you're like, I have that there.
But it's there and it's waiting for you. And there's something really lovely about having a complete series because you know there's no cliffhangers.
Yeah. And the best thing as well is, if you're kind of new to the Kindle, is that if you then look in your library and you put it on like your tablet or something, then it's really nice and attractive because all of a sudden you have all these new covers and you're like, ooh, and you can flick through it. There's something really appealing about that. That's one thing I will say about the tablet, the nice kind of looking album covers. That's quite that's quite pretty. But whatever. But how they do it is every month, I think, or every couple of months.
It's not very often, but you know, for obvious reasons, because this isn't something that has like vast amounts of publication, and you know.
I'm sure they'll do one for Christmas. I'll be surprised if they don't. So have a look out.
Happened in the past, I think. I seem to recall a Christmas bundle.
Mm. So that's like, it's quite a cool gift. I think you can give it to people. You can send. You can send the codes to their email
in a while, but as I remember it, it's only the one bundle per time.
Yeah.
They will just have one bundle.
Yeah.
And then it will swap after, X amount of time. There will be a new bundle.
Yeah, they kind of tend to do it in themes. So there's been a fantasy theme in the past. There's been a YA one.
Yeah.
And the last one was a video game one, but that seemed to be a lot of magazines, strangely. But that must be because the last one was popular as well.
I would think.
Yeah. So you get some non-fiction bits thrown in there depending on what like the theme is. So yeah, just like look out for that and follow them on Facebook, and then you get the updates. Because they'll go, ooh, we've changed our cover photos. I wonder what's about to happen.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, really? Tell me more.
Anything else we want to talk about on top of Christmas and get
kind of
books?
I was in John Lewis the other day for a change, and I don't know if you guys have seen the Christmas advert with the bear and the hare.
Oh.
There's a book, you can get a storybook off the back of the advert. They have printed a book.
That's adorable.
Of the story, and I read it and it made me cry. I was like, oh my god, I am such a child, because it's so happy, the idea of like that the hare buys the bear the alarm clock to, you know, wake him up for Christmas so that he can see it, because that makes sense, because
He's
bears hide
every time. Like, I've been
It keeps
crying
getting
over it.
me. I know.
I've been crying over it. I think, like, my hormones must be going crazy this month, because every little thing I'm like, oh, so good, it's so cute.
The first couple of times I saw the advert, I was like, oh, that's sweet, and now I'm like, oh my god, it's so magical. So yes, but I love the idea that because they did the kind of the expected stuff, you know, they've done a little bit of merchandise. You can buy a bear and a hare toy, but I wasn't expecting the book, and when I saw it, I was like, that is lovely. That is just lovely. It's like and it rhymes, so it's like it's a bedtime story, and it's just gorgeous. I can't even tell you. So yeah, I just wanted to mention that.
Other Rachel, fun fact, Other Rachel has illustrated kids book.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
Called,
what an ace job.
Harry Purple Monkey Dishwasher. It's like a mouthful. It's really weird.
It makes sense in context?
Yes.
Good.
Because he washes dishes, but my mind still goes to like electronic dishwasher. It's like,
I know, I was like, a dishwasher.
Okay.
Okay. He's just like sat there chilling on the rack, like...
If you're Canadian, you might have heard of it, because she does a lot of tours.
Ah,
And
nice plug, well done.
Yeah, she's on TV. So if you've got little kids, Harry Purple Monkey Dishwasher. Yeah.
Check you out with your fancy connections to the industry.
Yeah. Shall we move on to the main topic?
Let's go for it, yeah.
From Christmas to abandonment.
Yeah.
I think, have we talked about this before, about books with reasons for leaving a book alone? Have we done that? I
don't think we've not done it.
I was going to say, because if we have, we might
have skated past it, but we've never actually addressed it as a phenomenon. That's the word I'm going for there.
I'll explain briefly why I've come back to the topic if we haven't done it before. Because the other week we decided on the book. I don't know if we mentioned if I was doing... Basically, book club's going to be The City and the City by China Miéville. So I'm about a third of the way in, so that'll be a while yet, because I'm going to have to pass it on to you when I'm done. So in the meantime, you were asking...
what you'd read that I could read, so that we had something to talk about.
And there on the shelf is a book called Vellum. And it's a book that I don't want to get rid of. Because it's just so unusual and so strange. Like, sometimes when you talk to people about books, and like, especially when Lord of the Rings comes up or something like that, and they go, oh, you know, it's hard to read, it's difficult to read. And I go, no. No. Nothing is as hard to read as this. It's not so much because of the language.
No, the language, taking the words individually, they're all very easy to understand. Very, very simple words.
If you pick out a sentence, you'll go, yeah, I understood that sentence very well.
Yes.
But once you add up the sentences and the paragraphs,
and you try and form a mental image of what's happening.
Like, there's...
I mean, let's start off with, like, okay, vellum. Let's start with that. I looked at that, I thought, vellum, yeah, I vaguely know what that is. It's like some kind of animal skin that they used to, like, you know... use in books. I Wikipedia'd that. It's apparently calf skin. That really, really, really early. You know, before we really got the hang of paper and all that lot. We would occasionally like scribe things on that sort of material. You know, it was around. It happened totally normal. I was like, okay, doesn't tell me much about where we're going to go with this book. I was like, perhaps it's a historical thing. Maybe that's what we're going to be delving into. And then you open the book and. That's where it lost me.
So strange, because it's been a while since I read it, but there's so much of it that's still like vivid. And it kind of follows a storyline of a guy who discovers this book in like a broken bit of the library.
Yeah, there's a man who has broken in. He's broken into the room and got this book, and instead of running away because he has been breaking and entering, he's absorbed by it. He's looking through it. He's reading what's in there, and that's happening in real time. I think that is that is the now of the book. That's what we should be following. But there's a lot of very non-linear flashbacks. And I really do mean a lot. I mean, like, within the first 20 pages, there's probably 3 or 4 of those. And they just don't hang together in an easy way.
See, it covers the story of him, but then there's a girl, and you kind of have this idea that there's alternate worlds, and there's a girl who's trying to get to this other world. Because
the book he finds, which has maps, basically, it has maps in it, and it's an old book.
That is I think that's why it's in my memory so much, because that's the one bit that really kind of hit that creative, like, oh, yes, this sounds like it will be amazing, because he pulls out this map of, like, the world, but then unfolds it again and again and again. So there's the world, but then there's more of it. And it's that idea of, whoa, there's more worlds, there's more
world than we knew about.
So we can go discover more, and that, like, I love that, and that was amazing.
And I think somehow he's therefore able to travel between, like, to move into this other... See, I sound unsure because I am. Because by this point,
really not.
I'm not confident in what I thought the book was telling me, in what I thought was happening. I'm very not sure.
And then you get snippets of, is it like Greek mythology or something?
I don't think I got that far.
Yeah, there's a scene that happens where like it's a myth about an old Greek dude going to see a woman or something. It's been a long time since I read it, but I just remember that scene then gets plonked in the book over and over again. Not like one after the other, but like just in each chapter will end with the same scene. I'm like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah,
it just made zero sense. I really wanted to get into it and enjoy it, but I just could not understand it.
Because I struggled so much, and I admitted this to you.
Yeah.
Like, I struggled so much that I thought, okay, I'm going on the Wikipedia page. I'm going to read the Wikipedia page about the book, then carry on. Because that will give me a basic understanding of what I'm looking for. It'll point me towards the plot. Even the Wikipedia page could not help me. I still to be fair, it's not a very expansive Wikipedia page, and it focuses a lot on critical acclaim that this book has received, how it really divided critics. A lot of them were saying this is revolutionary, it's so new, it's such a different writing style, with these like snippets of story all over the place. And it didn't really tell me what the story of the book was, which got me thinking maybe that's because they don't know either. Because if Wikipedia can't provide you with an answer, maybe there isn't one.
See, there's a careful balance in a book where you have to let a reader know what's going on, but without just flat out telling them. And sometimes you're worried you're going too far in one direction, so sometimes you're like, am I explaining too much? Am I not explaining enough? Will they understand what the hell is going on? I don't want to talk about it too much because obviously it's going to be a book club, but City in the City is the perfect balance because it's never fully explained outright. You just slowly introduced to this. Yeah. You're slowly introduced to this like idea, and I'll try not to spoil what that is, and then you can kind of experience it for yourself. But he's very good at that. He doesn't explain why things are. You work that out for yourself. He goes, "This is the character. This is what's happening to them. This is what they're thinking right now." And as things goes on, you understand it a bit more. Just like a perfect balance.
Because I like a book to be pitched where I twig as to what's going on maybe a couple of pages before it's revealed. I don't want to see it coming right at the beginning of the book, But it makes me feel clever. You know, I know it's completely intentional. That's how the book is written. You're supposed to figure these things out. But it makes me feel like I'm an engaged reader. Like I'm doing it properly when I suddenly go, hang on a minute. And then a couple of pages later, it's like, yes, they validate your deduction because they go, hey, here's a shocking plot twist that you just figured out was coming. And I like that. Whereas this, it was more like, it's more like just kind of being thrown into the middle of things. And, but everything was kind of, it's like every flashback, all of it, it's all changing all around you. Like I'm just not sure of it at all. And in a sense, that's really impressive because on the one hand, the first 50 pages of that book got it published, I'm assuming it was published in the usual way where they sent it off and either got an agent or a publisher interested from the first couple of chapters. And I just personally I really struggled through them, and I'm not used to struggling through a book. I'm really not.
That's it. You really want to understand it, but it just keeps flipping back and forth between these different stories and like characters and ideas and different worlds, and it's presented in such a strange way that you can't access it. Like, maybe if we hadn't let an extra 20 points in our IQ or something, maybe then we'd have the light bulb moment and go, oh wait, it's brilliant.
But it's not strange in that sort of House of Leaves way, which is strange, but you're able to follow it.
Yeah, exactly.
It is more, convoluted.
It has different stories, but they're very clear about who's saying what. Like, the footnotes are the story that's happening now, and then there's an event that happened, and then there's a book about that event. So it all ties together, and it's not too difficult to figure out.
And if you think about it, you can work it out. You can see where you're up to. With Vellum, just...
And there's another one, there's a continuation, there's a book too, and I don't understand how.
I cannot help you with that. I do not know.
And there must have been a lot of people like me reading the back and going, that sounds interesting, buying it, and going...
It's one of those book covers as well. You have seen this book. It's one of those, you know, as soon as you see it, you think, I've walked past that a lot of times in shops. You know, it's obviously popular. It just didn't seem to make much sense to me.
And the reason why I picked Abandonment is not just because of that, but because I kind of abandoned Haunted, the Chuck Palahniuk, how we say his name? I'll come back to it. But it's just because it got to a place where I was kind of getting stressed. It was like a tough week. I just reached a point and I picked it up and I started reading and I went, no, cannot handle this, because like every story is so dark and sordid and it's full of people that you just have no sympathy for, that you just do not like, because all of them have either had something really horrible happen to them or they've done something horrific, and it just became a bit too much. Like, from what I've heard, I've been through the worst ones, but it just reached a point where I went, no, I need some escapism. I need
like, it's not worth it
I was
anymore.
like, I just picked up a book and went, I'll pick up like one of the fantasy books I'm kind of midway through rereading and just carry on and have a bit of escapism and get out of it for a bit. I was like, no, I can't handle this anymore. So maybe I'll pick it up again in a couple of months. But I just, for my own mental health, I had to put it aside.
Yeah, I can see that, given the subject matter.
Yeah. So, are there books that you can think that you've abandoned for those kind of reasons? Like, difficult to read? Just upsetting?
I don't tend to abandon books. It's a very short list. In fact, of two. One of them being Vellum. The only other book I've started and not finished is The Lord of the Rings. Yeah.
Oh.
I know. And I was a lot younger when I did this.
Yeah.
I'd read The Hobbit. I'm sure I've mentioned this before. I've read it, loved it. You know, who doesn't? moved on to Lord of the Rings, and it just didn't. I don't know. Somehow it just didn't grip me at all. But this was before I'd seen the films.
Yeah.
This was before I really knew the story and understood what was going on. And I would guess if I went back to it now, I would at least be able to read it, if not love it. But I don't really feel the need. That's the thing, and it's rare. Like with Vellum, I don't feel the need to figure that out, and that is not like me. I know, given that we webcast, like it you don't really know a lot about me, but like I'm not that sort of person who walks away from something half done. Like even, I mean, I would, like I said, when I would go on holiday, I would end up borrowing books off my mum or my sister. And I once borrowed one of the Series of Unfortunate Events books off my sister. At which point I read all of them, every one of them that was out, because I couldn't not finish it, having started the series. And I didn't even care.
Yeah.
But that is the sort of reader I am. I finish it. So yeah, it's quite an...
You need to go back and read Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
You have to.
I am told.
I can completely understand why you might, though, because like if you've only seen the films and not read the books start off in a really slow, plodding fashion. It takes about a book worth of pages to get to the like Council of Elrond.
Yeah.
Which is like the pivotal moment that kickstarts everything going, really. But like Frodo discovers about the ring and he's told he has to leave. And then he puts his house up for sale and has his friends around, goes to the pub a few times.
I'm told there's quite a lot of singing.
House. Yeah, he moves house and then then they realise the Black Riders might be after them, and then there's like an incident in a forest, and then they go see Tom Bombadil, and I'm not dissing Tom Bombadil's cool, but like you especially after seeing the film, because I basically watched Fellowship of the Ring. I was halfway through Two Towers when I watched Two Towers, and then I finished the book before watching Return of the King, so I was at like
you were there, you were keeping
I was at various stages. So to go from seeing the film where it's like, oh, it's a secret, it's safe, you must go, quick, pack, go out the door, and then you read the book, you're like, he's not even sold his house yet, what the hell's going on? So I can completely understand, and like, I remember the Council of Elrond chapter being really difficult to wrap my head around. I was like, probably 14, 15 trying to read that, and it was just at that level where I wasn't quite good enough of a reader yet, but I still got enough enjoyment to carry on and push myself. But then once you get through that bit, it's pretty good.
Because this is the thing, I mean, thinking back on this, it would have been my dad's copy of the books I was trying to read, which means I was less than 13 when this happened.
Yeah,
like,
fair enough.
So I was young. It probably was a bit advanced, and I mean, The Hobbit is pitched more for kids, but yeah, that's the only other book I have not finished reading.
Yeah, but definitely go back to it, because it's one of those books I've been meaning to reread for a while.
Yeah, because
I read it again a couple of years later when I was about 16, and I blew through it in about 2 weeks because I was on holiday and had nothing else to do.
Yeah.
Like the first time reading it took about 6 months, and then this one was 2 weeks, so there's a bit
you picked up speed there.
And then I remember being at like Jack's house like one Christmas, and then he had copies, and like just as he was sorting something out in his room, I just started reading it. And I was like, oh, I'm really enjoying this, and I keep meaning to go back to it, because I think now that I've matured as a reader, I'll enjoy it that much more.
And I think it's clearly one of those books that with each reread you'll see different things. So I'm aware.
I won't force you to try and read the Silmarillion. I'll stop it at that.
Yeah, okay, that might be a good thing. But yeah, it's definitely on my list. I think I'll get there. I'll probably Kindle version it, if I'm being honest. Probably not going to.
That was the first thing I put on my Kindle. Like, it's on my Kindle, not read on a Kindle, but I just went, as soon as I had that, I was like, this needs to be on here. I'm not having a Kindle without Lord of the Rings on it.
I put my favourite book on. I went for
Yeah.
Sunshine because I was like, it's my favourite book. If it's my Kindle, it should have the book on there, and now it does. And then I put all my stuff on, my rubbish stuff that I've been writing, and you know, that made it mine.
Yeah. I'm kind of the opposite in regards to abandoning books. I've got a lot of unread books, a lot of abandoned books.
I've got a lot of unread, just not a lot of abandoned.
I think I just have, I don't know, not so much a short attention span, but sometimes if a book just doesn't grab me enough, I'll put it aside and go, I'll pick it up later, and then I'll go, ooh, new book.
Well, I
Like,
can see the logic.
like Dory kind of, ooh, new book. Oh, I need to finish that. Ooh, another one.
But equally, it's your time. You only get 24 hours in a day. Do you want to read something that's not engaging you?
See, people go, oh, I feel like I owe it to the author to finish their book. That's nice and all, but
I don't think you do. You've paid the money.
If they've written a crap book, I ain't gonna finish it. I'm not gonna waste my time. There's so many books out there that I want to read, that I want to go back and reread because they're my favourites. I don't have time for books that aren't engaging me.
Because there was there's been a series that I gave up on. I did give up after a complete book, but Laurel K. Hamilton's Anita Blake series, that lost me. I made it to book 12. I read book 12 and I was like, you know what?
Yeah.
No. Enough is enough. But even then I had to finish the book.
Yeah.
You know, and it got bad at like book 7, 5, okay, like 3, I guess. Like book 1, 2 and 3 were just brilliant, can't even tell you.
Yeah.
And I made it all the way to 12 and then I was like, do you know, no, just no at this point.
Yeah, I try and give them a good enough time to get me, because I don't read like the first chapter and go, nah, this seems rubbish. I go, no, I bought it for a reason, I'll give it a chance. And I think I read one of the Terry Brooks books, Dragonbone Chair, I think it's called, like his first, and he's another one, fancy author that's got tons of books. I started reading it, I've got no interest in any of the characters, but I went, no, I'll give it was a chunky book, so I went, I'll give it
100 pages.
150, 200 pages.
Which is a decent amount.
Exactly, a decent amount of book to like grab me. And I kept like someone I was working with at the time, and she's like, oh, how's your book going? I was like, still reading it, still a bit crap.
Yeah.
And just did not interest me, did not care about the characters at all.
And if it's not got you by
no,
that, I mean, like if it's not got you by the 100-page mark, it's not going to happen, because I mean most books, I mean, to be officially a novel, I think technically you only have to be 70,000 words, which is probably, it's like the first Harry Potter, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's
you're looking
about
at about 150 to like 200 pages for like a small book.
So, I mean, if a book has not grabbed you and you're reaching
in
that
a
sort of
book worth,
point in a book worth, it's probably not going to suddenly spark your interest on the next page, is it? If you've not invested, you're not going to.
Like, my ideal book is the one where I read the prologue, chapter 1, I go, I need to know what's going on. I need to know what happens next. I need to know more. And then you're away then, and that's it. It's got me for the rest of the book. But
it's the first line with me. This is my big, massive point about why I love Robin McKinley so much, because like 2 of her books, the first line just sums them right up for me. Like, and because it's very knowingly and it's done in a humorous way, but like the first line of the book is, because I was a princess, I had a Pegasus. And you're like, yes, tell me more, tell me more.
Yeah, that's great when a book has a voice and you just pick up
because
on it. Because
it is funny. That's the way she writes. It's that kind of like sly and you're like, yes, of course. And the other one is I never heard them coming, but you don't, do you, when they're vampires?
Ooh.
And I was like, just I think I stayed up so late that night because I was like, what? What? Tell me more.
Good news, City in the City is like the first book where I've been this engrossed with it. I've gone, I need to know what happens next. Like the last China medieval book I read was Perdido Street Station, which is huge and it's a bit plodding. It's interesting enough that I kept reading it. It wasn't, I must know what happens next, but it was really interesting enough that I wanted to keep going. But this one, I just, like, it's the first book I've read for a while. I'm like, I'm going to turn everything off and actually read, not in bed anymore. Not leave it till the end.
Yeah.
And just go, you know what, I'm just going to keep reading this. This is really good.
Because I haven't really done that. I haven't read in the days when I've not been on holiday. I haven't read in the days since Harry Potter.
Yeah.
And not the end Harry Potters, because those I just got at midnight and I read right through till morning. But the book 4 and book 5, I read those.
Yeah, if I pick up Harry Potter, it's dangerous ground because I'll start reading it and then I won't be able to stop. Then that's it. That will take over my life until I've finished it.
I'm sorry, this is a proper aside, but I have just participated in my work's Christmas quiz, which consisted entirely of Christmas themed questions. And I was terrible at it, I have to say. I didn't know any of the festive named people because all the ones I anticipated being on there were not. Even Jon Snow, no appearance from Jon Snow. I was like, oh. So we get through this, we start doing who was born on Christmas Day in this year? Not a clue, nothing. Literally, finally, my time to shine comes. And it's what did such and such get for Christmas in whatever. And the one I knew was what did Harry Potter get given for Christmas in book 1? And I was like, that one I know.
I got that one.
Yeah, literally. I was like, that was my only thing. Sorry, it was because you mentioned Harry Potter. I was like, I've got to tell that story now.
Yeah. I picked up the last book, like, randomly off Jack's bookshelf again. For someone who doesn't read that much, he owns some decent books. And then that was it. I just went, I can't stop reading it now.
But I think it's like, you know how in Good Omens they have every tape in a car becomes the greatest hits of Queen? Every bookshelf has the Harry Potter books on it.
Yeah.
They just appear.
You know when, like, me and Jack first started going out and it was, like, I cottoned on that he wasn't much of a reader. I was like, what have you read? And then found out the 2 books he'd ever really read was, like, Harry Potter series and Lord of the Rings. So I went, well, we're okay then.
Yeah, like, you're done. You pass.
Yeah. If they're the only 2, like, sets of books you read, that's fine by me.
I like that logic. It's like, okay.
I've managed to, like, get him to read a couple of books by Yahtzee, the guy who does Zero Punctuation.
Yeah, Zero Punctuation.
Because he's got such a funny writing style.
He's a funny guy.
He's written a book called Mogworld that's, like, it's about characters in an MMORPG game. So it's like a book based on Warcraft, but then if suddenly the characters become self-aware and
okay, that's awesome.
It's really funny, really hilarious. And, like, the main character's one of the undead, like a zombie, and it's just brilliant. And then he wrote another one that came out recently called Jam, and it's about what if the apocalypse happened, but instead of zombies, it was jam.
So it's a jam. A jamopolis.
Yes.
I can't even say it. Jam.
That phrase will be in that book.
Seriously?
Yeah.
I could write it for you, like apocalypse, but with jam on them.
Like, they wake up one morning and
there's just jam.
Like, I think they're in Sydney.
Okay.
And yeah, everything's covered in jam, like man-eating jam. So,
it's not just jam.
Yeah, so if you step in the jam, it'll, like, grab you and you'll be, like, digested.
Oh my god, that was like
jam.
an old school Goosebumps with the purple okay.
But it smells like raspberries. It's honestly, it's hilarious.
It sounds like a Simon
genius.
Pegg film. I like it.
It's really funny. I adore his sense of humour. He's a really good writer, actually. Like, it's brilliant. So I've managed to convince Jack to read that when we were in Toronto, and I think he really enjoyed it.
Yeah, that sounds like it would be very accessible.
Because the best thing about it is that the jam was timed to kind of be released during morning rush hour, where the normal people are on their way to work. So the only people left are, like, the people with odd hours or the slackers.
The ones who don't work.
Like, the slackers who don't work. So, like, the main character's just, like, complete slacker who's kind of not really done anything impressive with his life and has to ask other people if it's a good idea before he does anything.
Yeah.
And he's got like no motivation. It's just like he is not the perfect main character, and that's what makes it perfect for this book.
That's exactly what you need, someone flawed.
Yeah, it's fantastic. So
because that's the hardest thing, is to write a flawed character who's still engaging.
Exactly.
And instantly there's one right there.
And my favourite character is, I want to say his name's Gary, but I'm not sure. But he's just like a bit older than the rest of them, and he's got a job, but he had the day off because he was ill or something. And he just like is angry and hates everyone, and I love him. He's just brilliant. Hey, look at that! We had a tangent, and it was about books.
Oh my gosh,
Whoa.
that's got to be a first.
Yeah.
Go us.
Wow. We haven't. Well, you've seen Hunger Games. You've seen the new Hunger Games. And
Yes,
I
I
haven't,
have.
and I'm really sad because I keep seeing adverts and I go, oh, I want to see it. It's not happened yet.
Without properly talking about it, again, my biggest point that I am so happy with is the fact that it is very, very close to the book. Yeah.
Yeah. But when I finally do get
We
to
will
see
talk
it,
about
we'll
it.
have to do a podcast.
We might do a specific, like we did a Marvel one. We could do a Hunger Games.
I think we will do, because I've not read the books and you have, so it'll be interesting to see how our thoughts are different on it.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, that's a plan. We'll do that, shall we?
yeah. I think we'll leave it there, guys. It's almost an hour.
Yeah,
Not
we've
bad.
I was expecting that to say like 20 minutes.
I actually experimented with doing like one of these on my own the other day because I was like,
did you?
it's like, hey, I'm like,
Oh my god, it's nice to know how much you need me.
I'm in a house on my own. I was like, oh, I'll see how it goes because we skipped a week, so maybe if I like just put something out there.
You realise I would have known about it. Like, you can't cheat on me with the podcast.
It was really bad. Like, I cannot talk on my own. I rushed through it. I like did the Kindle topics, rushed through it, and looked back and went, oh, that was only 5 minutes.
You see,
Yeah.
Procrastination. It is my gift to the world.
Yeah. So I clearly need some help with these.
Good. Well, I think we should draft in reinforcements at some point, and we'll have a fluffy guest star.
Oh,
Yeah, maybe next week.
I think so.
Maybe next week I'll bring one of my dogs.
I don't know how Grandma feels about pets, but she's in Australia.
We could podcast.
We'll
at my
vacuum.
house.
We'll vacuum before she
Yeah,
comes. It's fine.
she never has to know.
No, I don't think she'll be listening to this. I'll be surprised if she is.
Lola's very discreet. Charlie, not so much.
I want her to arrive in a Christmassy outfit. Can you do that?
Oh no,
for me?
Lola doesn't dress up, but Charlie does. He has got little foot bells, and then he jingles when he walks.
Oh no! That's the cutest thing. We'll leave with that image in your head.
Yes, we will.
A jingle bell
Barrel
dog.
wearing fluff pop. He is basically a fluff ball, like shaped like a dog.
Bye bye.
Bye guys.